had to do with getting the military to obey constitutional authority.
Yes.
Under General Abacha, you are aware of his plans to transform into a civilian president.
Yes, I was, and I was against it.
Yeah.
And that is that was the beginning of my problems.
With General Abacha?
With everybody.
Aha. Okay, good.
The people we talked about.
Yeah. You also have.
And I'm happy. Let me just continue. I am glad that the DMI is here, General Sabo. And in one of the documents here, a meeting was held where I was called a member of NADECO, where I was a danger to all because the military had not come out to say anything about General Abacha's self-succession program.
At what stage, because General, I'm aware of this, that you were opposed to General Abacha's succession plan. But at a stage, you did issue a statement that the army was behind him if he was going to transform.
No,
at a stage, in reaction to the DMI.
Not the reaction to DMI.
Okay.
A reaction to a publication in the, I think, either Punch, one of the magazines, which said I went around to speak against General Abacha.
Yeah.
Now, what the statement said is, I went around to talk to soldiers on anybody Nigerians wanted, including General Abacha, if he stood election as a civilian.
Now, General, from the evidence given so far before this commission, what you have listened to, particularly the bombing incidents, killings, and the rest of them, won't you agree with me that the Directorate of Military Intelligence, headed by particularly General Sabo, m.k.o, and others, were involved in this incident?
Well, with Inzeribe and the other evidences given here, one may not clean the DMI completely.
Now, won't you agree with me that the military headed by you had become...
The Nigerian Army, please.
Yeah, the Nigerian Army.
Thank you.
Sorry, the Nigerian Army. Had then become what your predecessor, General Sanni Ibrahim, once regarded as an army where anything goes.
Well, that is General Salihu's views. But in answer to your question, because things were going wrong, that is why I visited the security group. And you know what came out of it?
I know. Now, when you were at DMI...
No, I was never DMI.
No, when you visited the Directorate of Military Intelligence, you found civilians who had no business being there, including little kids, and you ordered their release. Let me correct one impression. I did not meet any little kids. Okay. All the people they are mature people. Okay. Detained. Yes. For several offenses. Yes. And you ordered that some of them be released. Well, I did not say some. I said all those who had no business being there should be released. Should be released. Yes, I did that. Were you not surprised that your decision was not complied with? I wouldn't be surprised. Chief of Army Staff? No, I wouldn't be surprised because at that time, the DMI, as far as I'm concerned, was more of a presidential villa DMI than the army. So at that time, you also agree with me that things were really abnormal in the military. But let me correct this impression. They were released. Okay. Eventually, because somebody had to go back. It is not correct to say that they were not released. They were released after my visit and my instructions. They were released when General Abubakar took over. That's not correct. Okay. Now, you will agree with me that the army, when you were the chief of army staff, engaged in other activities from the evidence you have heard here of the role of the DMI and the rest of them. Well, I don't understand what you mean
other activities.
For instance, you have said, from the evidence you have listened to here, the role of the military when General Sabo was in charge left much to be desired.
I said I cannot give them a clean bill. I did not say that.
Okay.
So
why can't you give them a clean bill?
because I visited the place myself, and I met people who should ordinarily not be there, who should be with the police or other agencies. For that, I could not have given them a clean bill.
Those who could not have been given a clean bill, as the chief of army staff, what did you do to ensure that they never repeated the violation of the rights of
Well, I directed their release, and they were released.
Yeah. What happened to the officers who engaged in such practices?
Well, you have to look at each case separately.
Yeah.
Some of those people were transferred there by people, maybe some from the presidency. And I want to assure you today that I went to General Abacha myself and spoke to him about these things. Because I can remember clearly I met a lady, I think she's Halima or something. Fine. And she told me she was there at on the directive of somebody from the presidency.
He told you on directive of Major Mustafa.
No.
I remember.
No, not Al-Mustafa.
Who?
You just say the presidency. If it were Al-Mustafa, I would have gone straight to Al-Mustafa.
Somebody in the presidency.
Listen, I would have gone straight to Al-Mustafa. But instead, I went straight to the commander-in-chief, General Abacha, who also directed her release.
You also find in that case that she was taken there on the instruction of Mrs. Abacha.
Honestly, I did not check and I did not find out, so I don't know.
Okay. Since you don't know about that one, let's just ask about this thing that you know. You did say that General Sabo never spoke to you about Chief Abiola on the 8th of June, and I want to believe you.
That is correct.
Now, from the account of the events of June 8th, given by Major Mustafa, which you confirmed yesterday, you will agree with me that you were in Nassau Rock on that day. You were summoned.
Yes, I was summoned in the morning.
Major Mustafa.
Well, maybe he told somebody to call me, but I was called by an operator.
An operator?
Not Al-Mustafa directly, yes.
Yeah. Now, after the meeting, the briefing by Major Mustafa about the death of General Abacha, that day, you were briefed. Is that correct?
No, we were called into the residential, the CNC's residential place, and we went there. We said that is when we were told, and I think we were briefed by the Inspector General of Police, Alhaji Kumasi. Mustafa then was inside, but Mustafa joined us later, yes.
Yeah. Did you meet General Sabo that day at all? In Nassau Rock? Did you see him around?
I saw Sabo in the night when he came into the, when he came to join us at the PRC, and I told him to go, and I said, I directed he should go out, he was not a member. That's when I saw him.
Before that meeting, you never spoke to him?
Well, we met General Abubakar,
yes,
Mustafa, Sabo, if I can remember, Gumel, Magashi, and myself.
Now,
that was before the burial.
Yeah. You did say that Chief Abiola was taken to the barracks, according to the version given.
Not me.
Yes, I know. You didn't say that.
When you say you did say.
According to the version given here by Major Mustafa, that Chief Abiola was taken to the barracks.
That's right.
And you did say yesterday in your evidence that if you were going to kill Chief Abiola, it couldn't have been taken to the barracks.
Oh, definitely. Nobody would do that.
Will you know where it was taken to that day, 8th of June? Will you know?
I wouldn't know, because in the first place, I only knew that the security officers, CSOs, had anything to do with Abiola here. To the best of my knowledge, Abiola had always been in the custody of the Nigerian police.
So you didn't know where he was taken to that day?
I did not even know he was taken to anywhere, nor did I know where he was.
Now, do you know that the court in Abuja, Federal High Court, gave an order for Chief Abiola's detention in police custody?
I don't know.
No, but that's what you say. You have always thought he was in police custody.
Yes, I thought, yes, that is the normal police responsibility. That does not mean I knew, no.
Now, now that you know that it was not kept in police custody, it was in the custody of the CSO.
I'm not sure that is right because Zadok himself here said he was in charge of Chief M.k.o.
On the instructions.
The CSO, according to them, in charge of providing money for feeding.
He said it was on the directive of Major Mustafa.
For feeding.
And general management.
For feeding. Yes. But the actual custody, I believe, was that of the Nigerian police. And Zadok confirmed that here.
But you wouldn't know which officer among the police was in charge of Abela?
Well,
apart from Zadok.
No, I wouldn't know because I have no business with the police in that case.
Now, from your experience in detention, are you saying, do you know that if outsiders bring food to detainees, or water or tea, is he normally tasted in the presence of prison officers?
That's correct, yes.
That's all for him, sir. No, last one. You are in the security section of Kuje prisons.
Where you are, yes.
Yes. That's all for him, sir. Where you are, my friend.
Yes. Counsel for General Sabo. General Bamaiyi, I wish you happy birthday and many more years of happiness.
I was actually expecting your card.
Sorry, I wasn't in yesterday. Thank you.
It's never too late.
Thank you. I will still send one. Now, General, I want you to please appreciate that the major the major assignment of this commission is really to repair damage done to our psyche and to also see how people can be reconciled. Therefore, the third term of reference has to do with to determine whether any abuses and violations of human rights were a product of deliberate state policy. Now, you are in power and at the hierarchy, the highest echelon of power in this country for 3 years.
I was the Chief of Army Staff for 3 years, not power.
As the Chief of Army Staff, you are in charge of the Nigerian Army.
Correct.
And the Nigerian Army is the most potent part of the Nigerian armed forces.
Yes, I agree.
And you'll also agree that the Nigerian Army and the police have been the major accused persons, accused in inverted commas, have been the main persons who have been blamed, at least against whom petitions have been filed here for human rights violations and abuses.
I'm not sure that is correct because our professors and other people here, so I don't think you are right.
Well, there are a lot of complaints against the Nigerian Army.
Yes, I agree.
And some of these complaints occurred during the time you were the Chief of Army Staff.
Yes.
As Chief of Army Staff, would you accept responsibility for these abuses?
I will not because most of them have not been proved. They are mostly allegations. And I will not take responsibility for allegations.
Well, let's narrow it to those which were either admitted or, reconciled. The reconciliation being against the army. Would you accept responsibility for those?
If you can give me some examples, I will appreciate
Like the Nzerebe case?
Well, the Nigerian Army never sent anybody to torture anybody. As such, there is no way, as the Chief of Army Staff, that I will accept responsibility by the DMI. If I had not taken action to correct the alleged excesses of the DMI, that would have arisen. For now, I cannot take responsibility for DMI's activities.
Nzerebe was not tortured. Nzerebe's case was that of arrest. He was detained, arrest and detention. And he was detained for a period in excess of the usual detention he should have gone through.
He was not.
You're not accepting responsibility.
He was not arrested on the orders of the Chief of Army Staff or any other senior officer but the DMI.
In short, you are not accepting any such cases on behalf of the Nigerian Army.
And I will not.
Thank you. Now, General, if you recall, Nigeria for over 29 years had been ruled by the military. Am I right?
Well, yes,
29 to 30 years.
We've been there for some time, yes.
That's right. Now, and throughout these 29 years, all the either heads of states or military presidents have been members of the armed forces.
Yes.
And of all of these members of the armed forces, all of them apparently were members of the Nigerian Army.
Yes, majority, yes.
Not majority, all of them.
Okay, agreed.
Now, can you be of some assistance to the Commission? How come other members of the armed forces have never tested the lucrative position of heads of state or president?
I am not in a position to answer that question. Maybe.
No, from your experience as Chief of Army Staff, you do not know?
I don't know.
Oh, thank you. Now, would I be right to suggest to you that the reason lies in the fact that it is the Army which has been the most politically motivated and ambitious part of the armed forces?
That is your view. You're entitled to one.
Would you agree with me?
I will not.
Thank you. You would also not agree with me that you were once ahead of the armed forces? Of the army.
That is a fact.
And in the hierarchy of the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy, when you were Chief of Army Staff, you ranked higher than the two, even though the Chief of Naval Staff, Ahigbe, was your senior. Am I right?
Well, maybe I better tell you why.
No. Answer the question first. Yes, then you can explain, General.
Okay, yes. Well, let me tell you why. Okay. We go by hierarchy of establishment. The Nigerian Army was established before the Navy and the Air Force. The Navy was established before the Air Force. That is the hierarchy. There's nothing special about it.
Thank you very much. Now, apparently there have been I haven't heard more than one case against the Navy before this commission, and none indeed against the Nigerian Air Force. Now...
No, I think you are wrong.
Hold on.
No, even this morning.
Yes, that's the only one I've heard.
Well, there are many. I heard some. There was some in Lagos.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Now, General, you will recall that Fadigbe, in his testimony in Lagos, was very emphatic. And also, I believe, if he testified here, he was very emphatic about the perpetration, the mastermind and perpetration of the Dia coup. Now, this is what he had to say. He said that Lieutenant General Bamaiyi was the prime mover of the Dia coup.
That is not true.
No, that he didn't say so?
He says so, but he's wrong. His statement is wrong.
I'm coming. I've not asked you my question. Now, if you agree that he said so, do you agree that Dia himself and Fadigbe were the closest of pals, particularly during, Fadigbe was his chief security officer. Major Fadigbe was Lieutenant General Dia's chief security officer.
Yes, he was.
Up until the day of the coup in December. Am I right?
Yes, you are.
Now, he testified before this commission that if anybody would know anything about Dia's involvement, he was the person. Am I right?
Well, what do you expect?
No, please, excuse me. it is better for you to answer my question, then you can expatiate. I always allow you to expatiate, General, please. Would you agree that he was the closest person to Dia in relation to this matter?
I don't think so.
Were you part of the carry-along team?
Well, that is
play-along team?
That is your client's definition. As far as I'm concerned, I was not a party to any carry-along anything.
You didn't?
A subordinate officer of mine, General Aziza, reported to me what General Dia told him.
No, we have not come to. No,
I'm answering you.
I'm coming to Aziza. Okay. Were you part of the play-along team?
I was not part of any.
That's all right.
Team.
Everybody knows what play-along team means. Now, did you know? Are you saying that you didn't know anything about the instructions that officers should play along with General Dia in the team? I mean, in the coup?
Instructions from who?
No, you're not asking me questions. Did you know? No, you can't ask me questions.
No, but what? If I don't know who gave that instruction, then I can't answer.
The rules here are that I ask you questions. Maybe in the barracks you ask me questions.
Well, I am also free to answer questions as I understand them.
But not to ask me.
Well,
did you know anything about the involvement of Dia?
Of course, yes, I did. I knew.
Good, that's right.
I knew.
So, but what about General Sabo? Did he know anything about it?
Well, if you allow me to explain,
No. I want to list them first. Dia, General Aziza, General Magashi, Idi Musa, ADM Idi Musa, and I think one or two others. And two others, yes. Did they know anything about the coup?
Well, do you want me to take them one by one?
No, just generally all of them. You can say yes or no, then you can expatiate if you want. I don't want to know the level
of course they knew.
Good.
So, can I now explain?
No. Did they know as participants?
They knew first Aziza, who was contacted by General Dia, who played his role of being a loyal officer, reported to me, and I had no alternative to go as a loyal officer too, to inform the commander-in-chief, then late General Abacha. The involvement of Sabo, I did not know at all, because General Abacha himself said we should not tell any of them, even the CSO to the CNC. By your argument, you have been the closest person to CNC.
Yes.
We did not tell him. Maybe the CNC told them himself.
I see. But Fadipe maintained, because Fadipe was the link between Dia and every other participant.
Except me.
And he maintained that you were the prime mover.
Well, I never spoke to Fadipe from the beginning to the end of that whole issue. So I couldn't have been the prime mover.
Now, General, you said that you are not an ambitious officer at all, and you've never held political office. My learned friend, Mr. Fallona, has asked you questions about political office.
Ask your own.
I really don't. Do you know the functions of the Provisional Ruling Council at that time?
Yes, I do.
What were the functions, General?
Policy matters.
No. Just list one or two. Policy matters.
Just policy matters.
What about policy matters?
What I mean by policy matters?
Functions are functions. What were the policy matters function?
If there's anything brought in, memos to the PRC on issues, maybe appointments.
You appointed people to positions, am I right?
No. To approve
appointments.
Few appointments, like of course, like the very important ones. Then, just as he said, the transition program was one of the things discussed. Sometimes release of prisoners and the rest of it. And then, of course, generally, as I said, policy matters of the country.
Was the PRC the one to approve, go through all decrees and approve them?
Well, depending on what the Attorney General Federation brought to PRC, most of the decrees were never brought to the PRC.
Did the Attorney General of the Federation ever sign any decree?
But he drafts them.
Now, after drafting them, vetting them, he sends them to the PRC.
Sometimes and sometimes direct to the Commander-in-Chief and he signs.
What about those sent to the PRC?
Well,
were they discussed by the PRC?
Let me take a typical example, like the Constitution. Yes, that was exhaustively discussed.
Good. Let's take the Constitution. That was the 1999 Constitution.
Yes.
It was exhaustively discussed and passed by the PRC.
Yes.
Good. Now, I believe what you mean is that one of their functions is legislation. Am I right?
I wouldn't say legislation because the people who draft the laws are different.
I see.
These are drafted by professionals like Falana m.k.o.
No, never drafted decree. Never.
Are you sure?
Never.
General, it's all right.
Apologies.
I think.
Never.
Now, you now agree with me that as a member of, in this country at that time, the highest ruling organ in this country was the Provisional Ruling Council. Am I right?
You are.
That's right. And you are a member of that.
I was the Chief of Army Staff.
You are a member of that council?
Yes, but I was Chief of Army Staff. That was my primary responsibility.
Thank you.
Command of the Nigerian Army.
But as a member of the PRC, you are therefore a member of the highest ruling organ and therefore a politician.
I have never been a politician.
No.
Maybe I'll become one in future, I don't know. For now, I've never been one.
I wish you good luck, General.
Thank you, you vote for me.
Now, General, if you go to, please refer to your reaction to General Sabo's, the reply to allegations made by General Sabo, and on page 3.
Yes?
Now, you say that...
Which paragraph?
Paragraph 2, that's...
Yes.
You asked a lot of questions. Why now onto the Abiola matter proper. Now, in Abiola's case, you said you were wondering why General Sabo did not report the discussion between you and him to the Inspector General of Police.
His alleged discussion with me.
Yes, his alleged discussion with you with the Inspector General of Police. And you also wondered why Chief Abiola, if it is true that you wanted to kill Chief Abiola at all, you should, why he should have been taken to the army barracks, where you are in total command. Now, if this is just a hypothetical case, if in your house or in the house of a man called A, he has a thief in his house, and that thief is well known to him, and he is going to travel out of the town, and he wants to leave money at home in safe custody. Would you not suggest to him, if you were asked, to leave the money, if he doesn't want the money stolen, to leave it in the custody of the thief?
Then he's not a thief, because a thief should be able to steal anything.
No. When you leave it in his custody...
I will not leave it with a thief.
I see. Thank you very much. Well, the point I'm making is, you answered a question by my learned friend, Mr. Falana. You said, Chief, you did not know where Chief Abiola was taken to on the 8th of June. On that day, you did not know where he was.
I didn't, yes.
That's right.
I didn't.
That's right. That is the point. Look, listen. You did not know where he was on that day.
No, not only on that.
They did not even know where they were taken from.
I don't.
And that was the whole idea, that you shouldn't know.
But let me tell you something.
Yes.
In the first instance, the DMI had no responsibility for Abiola. How he got to know where he was, maybe he needs to explain. I was the chief of army staff. The DMI would ordinarily take instructions from me. I did not give DMI responsibility for Abiola's safety. I don't know your question. Maybe your client will tell you better. He had no responsibility for Abiola as far as I was concerned.
Now you really made a point that he did not report to the Inspector General of Police. I want you to take a look at this newspaper. They call The Source of November 1st, 1999. It has your picture, full bust of you, the front page. It's called The Source.
That's the magazine?
Yeah, it's a magazine.
Okay.
Yes, called The Source. I want you to take a look at page 9 and read where and take a look at page 9 particularly. My Lord, I seek to tender The Source magazine, dated the 1st of November, the year 1999, my Lord.
Well, what I've seen here is your client's handwriting. Is that what you want me to read?
Let it be tendered first, sir. Let it be marked, tendered and marked.
What will this be, 78 or 79, which?
Oh, there's about 80, I think.
78.
80.
78. Exhibit 78.
Now, please.
It appears. Unadmitted. So this is 79.
Yes, my Lord, we have 78 already.
It's exhibit 79, not 8.
Please take a look at the time this.
I've not got it back yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
General, do you recall when General Sabo was retired from the Nigerian Army?
Well, I won't remember the exact date. After the SIP, before the SIP.
Would you remember if this document was written before or after his retirement?
Well, that's what I was coming to.
No, answer the question first before you read it.
You see, you've just brought.
No, you're going to.
No,
read
I'm
it.
coming. Let me finish up. There are so many things General Sabo wrote.
Oh my God.
I need to have the complete document. This is just part of it.
Can I put it to you that this document was written after his retirement?
Oh, that is the one that caused his arrest.
That's right.
Fine. Yes, I agree with you.
That's right. You agree with me?
Yes.
And you agree with me that at the time he was retired from the army, he was no more directly subject to military rule.
He was.
Military orders.
I heard him say 2 months here. Once you leave the army, you are subject to military law for the first 3 months. Sabo was arrested after 2 months, according to his own statement. So he was subject to military law when he was arrested.
Now,
but if you just allow me,
No, General, hold on. You made a point. Now, when was General Sabo retired?
I think sometime in September. or August?
May I remind you that he was retired on the 10th of July.
Oh, that's fine, thank you.
And do you remember when he was arrested?
I can't remember because I did not arrest him.
Now, may I remind you that he was arrested on the 20th of October?
Yes, how many months?
That's 10 days after 3 months, General.
Well, it was still an offense and it has to be called. Now, let me just answer this.
Please,
Can
you read that page marked?
Now, before I read it.
Just read the page marked.
I will read it, but before I read, let me just say that this is exactly what Sab had been doing. If you go for Source Magazine, he took this thing to the Source Magazine. No.
Please, hold on. You know, I do not do my cross-examination like that. And you know, part of the terms of reference of this commission, in fact, part of the rules of conduct given to us by the commission is to treat previous leaders with dignity and decorum. I have been doing just that to you. Please answer my questions, and then you can proceed. I will not stop you, General. You are a general.
Okay, thank you. You will not stop me.
Yes, please.
Fine.
Yes.
So you want me to read that?
Yes, please, General.
Well, he wanted to become head of state on 8 June after General Abacha died. He reinforced his security from Lagos to Abuja. On one of his boys was hard, let me repeat, was hard, saying that Bamaiyi must be the head of state and that they have even reinforced. He also wanted to kill Abiola that same day to be able to hold on to power had he become the head of state. Abiola's place of detention to be changed by Major Al-Mustafa to prevent Bamaiyi from killing Abiola.
Now, what?
This
after this matter was published in the magazine, was it necessary for General Sabo to report to the Inspector General and to report to General Obasanjo's government, as you suggested? Was it necessary?
How many people really read these magazines? And I am one of those who don't believe any publication in the magazine. You told me you let me talk.
Yes.
I hope I will talk. I can talk now.
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Now, this is the same handwriting that caused...
Whose handwriting?
Sabo's handwriting.
That's right.
Right. And Sabo, took this thing to the magazines as usual. Let me just...
No, the point I am making is, General...
you said you let me talk.
No, let's get out of... No, but you must talk within context. The point I am making is, when you are complaining that Sabo did not report to the IG, apparently this issue, I mean, the matter had been reported in the press.
Sabo should know the normal communication of, the normal chain of communication. The military is not run by...
He was retired.
Whatever it is, he wouldn't have lost that military bearing to go into the press. But that is his trading stock. This is a lie. It is part of what Sabo was sending, which he admitted here.
No,
he was sending to the... Listen, I thought you said I would talk.
Yes, you can go ahead. Go
Fine.
ahead. Go ahead.
Good. It is the same paper that Sabo had sent to m.k.o to be published, which was intercepted. And Sabo, in his own statement, in evidence here, agreed that he was sending it to a newspaper house to be published. So that is it. It is all rubbish.
Thank you very much, General. Thank you. Now, you have said in your testimony, I mean in your exhibit, I don't know what exhibit it is, that exhibit 77, please can you refer to exhibit 77, that immediately after the death of General Abacha...
What page, please?
I think it's page 11, the last paragraph of page 11. You said that immediately after the death of Abacha, of General Abacha, my opinion was sought by General Abubakar on who should head the democratic government of Nigeria at the end of transition period, of the then military government of General Abdul Salam Abubakar. The idea of handing over to a retired general was mooted. I outrightly objected to our doing so and opined that we needed to have a clean break. Now, General, I want you to please take a look at the words you use. I outrightly objected. You to a suggestion, I mean, a request for your opinion from your commander-in-chief.
Well,
outrightly objected.
Now, let me just put one thing
to an idea put forward by your commander-in-chief. Were you loyal to your commander-in-chief?
Oh, very loyal. I was loyal to him and loyal to this country. Now, and I know you know it.
I know.
But before you go, you have to...
Hold on. All right. Let me ask you a question. If you were that loyal to your commander-in-chief...
I have never been a disloyal officer.
If you're that loyal to your commander-in-chief, you were also sent up as the of a consultative committee around the northern state. This was prior, very, very close to Abiola's death. Am I right?
Well, I can't remember it, but I went out.
As a matter of fact, a week before Abiola's death, you were going round. Am I right?
I went round.
That's right.
Yes.
Now, and when you went round, you gathered various shades of opinion from leaders of the North. Am I right?
Yes.
And
Northwest.
Yes, the Northwest. Now, these opinions were varied. Am I right?
Pardon?
There were various opinions.
Oh, not really, yes.
Your colleagues also went to the Southeast and Southwest. Am I right?
Correct.
Now, General, when you all came back, you submitted a report to the PRC.
No, we briefed the...
In your brief to the Commander-in-Chief, you suggested 3 options. 1, the first option you considered was the idea of going on with the transition period and program left by General Abacha. Wait, just wait.
No, I'm not.
The second option was the option of setting aside that transition program and setting up another one of your own, which eventually that's what you did. Now, and the last option was the option of a government of national unity headed by Abiola. Now, General, if you were so interested in a civilian leading this country, why did you not suggest Abiola? Was he a soldier too?
I did not suggest Abiola because the country then, I don't think, even if you talked of Abiola then, you would have caused more problems. Now, the options you talked about, let me just clarify.
Hold on. What problems would you have caused? If
The normal problem of Nigerians, some people agree, some will not.
No. You were in power. You went out to solicit ideas from leaders.
I have answered
What were
you.
the problems you found on the ground?
Well, you've already said there were various views, and I agree with you.
I zeroed on one view. Why did you not? You personally wanted a civilian. You didn't like General Obasanjo because he was a soldier.
Because we still believe Nigerians should be given a chance to vote for whoever they wanted.
General, why did you not suggest Abiola? Please answer that question.
I've answered you.
No, you haven't.
Because we believed there was need for another election.
Another election?
Yes.
What was wrong with the June 12th election?
How many years was that?
No. What was wrong with
You
this?
see, even if Abiola had taken over his mandate would have lapsed by the... You should take note of that. It's a 4-year period.
General, you said you needed another election.
Now, witness, this is very relevant. If you read what you wrote at page 11,
Yes.
the idea of handing over to a retired army general was mooted. I outrightly objected to our doing so and opined that we needed to have a clean break. That is, that the person who should head the democratic government ought to be one devoid of military background.
Yes, my lord.
You wrote this.
I did, and that's what I...
Question is, you had one very near you who already won an election. Why didn't you suggest him?
Because...
That's the question.
Yes, I'm going to answer it. Because his mandate that was fighting for had already lapsed. It was a 4-year term. He had already spent 4 years. And listen, let me answer.
4 years as a prisoner.
He has answered, well, 4 years in detention, yes, but what I'm saying is, if anybody wanted peace, I did not consider Abiola at all. All I was talking about was we should leave, the military should not hand over to a retired general because we were being accused. And of course, if Abiola had come in to stand for election, fine. He would have, if he was elected and won, that would have been it.
Now, General, did you, for goodness sake, when General Obasanjo was handing over, when he won the election, but before his inauguration, did you tender your letter of resignation as Chief of Army Staff?
Yes, I did.
When did you tender that resignation?
I think it must have been...
Don't think. You should remember.
I have to think.
You have to know when you left the army. You know when you entered the army.
1st of May.
1st of May?
Yes.
When did the Inspector General tender his? Do you know?
I wouldn't have known.
Okay, thank you. Now, General, you did not want a retired military officer to take over from your government. Please answer that.
I say so, yes.
Now, General, why did you not want a retired military officer?
Because, just as you said, the Nigerian army has been in power for over 30 years. And there was a cry from everywhere that nobody wanted the military. And of course, for you to hand over to another retired military officer is just changing the button. What was the difference?
May I ask you a question, General?
Have I answered your question?
Yes, you have.
Thank you.
General, you know very, very well, not only as a soldier, as a Nigerian, as a member of the PRC, you knew and you know very well that there were advantages in having a military man, a retired military officer to take over. One, Nigeria's major problems have always been transition from one civilian government to another. Now, don't you think that was an advantage to have a military man, a retired military man who would know the intricacies of the military and stop coups from taking place and therefore ensure transition from one civilian government to another?
That is your view, which you are entitled to.
Do you share that view?
I don't.
You don't?
I don't. I know many Nigerians will not share it.
Do you remember, General, that between the time General Obasanjo won an election and his inauguration as president of this country, there was a report in some newspapers and newspapers in this country that he had been assassinated. Do you recall that?
No.
You cannot recall that, General?
I told you I'm somebody who reads so much about newspapers because they tell a lot of lies.
Everybody, there were losses, people lost their lives in Lagos because there was a rampage. You cannot remember that? And you were then in Lagos?
I might not have been in Lagos. I would have been in Abuja. I was always between Abuja and Lagos. I can't remember. That's what I'm saying.
As Chief of Army Staff, you were then staying in Lagos, basically.
Okay. No, I was on and off.
You cannot remember?
I cannot.
All right, General. May I put it to you, General, that you did not want a retired military officer to take over because it would have been very easy for you to organize an overthrow of that government if it were a civilian government.
Well, let me repeat what I've said.
No. Answer my question.
I have never been interested in political appointments. I was never interested in being the head of state. I want to repeat that if I was interested, nobody would have stopped me from being the head of state on 8th of June, 1998.
You couldn't have been, General.
I could have been. Don't let anybody deceive you.
You know very well that Mustafa will not have allowed you to.
Well,
you know, I know.
I hope you know that Mustafa's power is only within the villa.
General, if
you are talking of a chief of army staff that has troops all over the country, who has absolute control of the army and the general officers commanding. I hope you know that.
Now, let me ask you a question, General. Let's get back to the 8th of June,
Yes.
1998. On that day, you came into Aso Rock on the invitation of Mustafa.
I said it before, I was invited by an operator who told me the commander-in-chief wanted to see me, not Mustafa wanted to see me.
General, is it normal for a chief of army staff to be invited to Abuja by an operator?
That is normal. The commander-in-chief passes messages, come and see me, yes.
Through an operator?
Yes, it's normal.
Well, General, you got...
Don't know what I'm
now,
doing that is normal.
no, let's take the sequence. You now got into... When you got into Abuja, you went to Aso Rock.
I was in Abuja. I did not come from Lagos.
Oh, you were in Abuja?
I was in Abuja from the 5th,
I'm sorry, man.
from
I'm
the
sorry.
5th of June.
I'm very sorry, General.
That the commander-in-chief wanted to see me. From that 5th of June, I did not see him until I was called on Monday when he died. I was in Abuja waiting to see him.
Good. Now, when you got to his residence in Aso Rock Villa, General, where did you go to?
We had a normal place, a waiting room.
You went to the waiting room.
That is why I
Now,
listen.
hold
That
on.
is why I went. That is the normal place to wait to see the commander-in-chief.
Agreed.
And there I met Jan Abubakar sitting down.
Now, when once you were within the walls of Aso Rock, were you not at the mercy of Al-Mustafa?
I wasn't, because let me just tell you, when I was going in,
Yes.
I was told to drop my security operators.
Yes.
I did not. So I was not at the mercy of
How
anybody.
many operators did you have?
Well, it's not the number.
Let me answer my question.
About 6.
You had 6 military guards.
Yes.
How many military, what do they call them, strike force members do you think were within the villa?
I don't know.
Were they up to 200?
I don't know.
1,000?
I don't know.
Now, I put it to you that there was no way your 6 boys could have matched Al-Mustafa's men.
And I'm telling you, it is not a matter of Al-Mustafa's boys. It is a matter of the Nigerian army.
And there was no way.
Which was a grip. That most of you don't just take power in the villa and say, I've taken power.
And all of you were locked up in a room. Anyway, what could you do?
We were never locked up. We were never locked up. So don't let anybody deceive you. Power is not taken in the villa. It is taken by the general officers commanding in the formations.
They were all in Aso Rock, locked up by Mustafa.
They were not there when I was there initially. Mustafa did not lock anybody. Please, don't put the young man into trouble. He did not lock up anybody.
Can he be in any worse trouble than he is?
Well, you are trying
by senior officers like you?
You are trying to add more to him,
No.
his problems.
Senior officers like you, who will not accept responsibility.
Mustafa did not lock up anybody.
Now, would you now, General, when were you promoted Lieutenant General, and by who?
By General Absalam Abubakar, September 98.
1998. Good. Was that after Abiola's death?
Yes.
Now, if Abiola had taken over, no, but just the next, sorry, not if. If Abiola had been head of, were alive, and power was handed over to him, would you have been a Lieutenant General?
Oh, definitely. I think you better look at his letter. He had already showed he wanted me to work with him. It is in black and white.
I know.
Yes. So I would have been a Lieutenant General.
I know. Abiola was a politician.
Well, whatever it is, I took him for his words.
To deal, but the military, you know yourself, you don't even trust yourself. How could Abiola trust you?
Well, if you trust your client, that will be all right.
Now, when you say that you stood to gain more with Abiola alive than dead, I put it to you that that is not true, because you would not have never have attained the rank of Lieutenant General if you were alive.
Well,
and you would not even, you in fact would have a job as a soldier if you were alive and ascended to throne as a president.
You are wrong. Abiola himself says, but I had no intention whatsoever in continuing service after 35 years of service. I had achieved what every combatant officer wanted to achieve. And maybe that is why some people are getting frustrated.
Now, you said in your relationship with General Sabo,
Yes.
no, that,
What is?
no, you said that that you did not support the transmutation of late General Abacha, his attempt to transmute himself into a civilian president,
Yes, I said
and
so.
that was the beginning of your problem
That's right.
with everybody.
Yes.
But General, please take a look at page 6 and 7 of your Exhibit 77.
Yes.
The last two lines
Of page what?
of
What page?
Did you page 6 and 7?
Yes.
Now, would you say, General, that you said with everybody, does everybody include General Abacha? Did you have problems with him because of the transmutation?
If I had problems with General Abacha, I wouldn't have been in service.
No, no, no. You
I said
you had
my problems were when I talk of everybody, the security services, the SABOs, the NIAs, and the SSS. I wouldn't, if I had problems with General Abacha, I wouldn't have been there.
So General Abacha was happy that you did not support his transmutation.
He never commented. And let me, can you allow me to
answer my question? Don't move out. Answer the question first. Was General Abacha happy with you when you opposed his transmutation from a military president to a civilian president?
I wouldn't know that.
You did not know.
I don't know. But let me.
No, just hold on.
You allow me to answer questions.
I'm satisfied with your answer.
No, I'm not satisfied with my own answer.
I don't want any more, sir.
Well, General Abacha never told anybody he wanted to continue. It is the same Sabo and m.k.o. that was selling all these ideas. General Abacha, until his death, never told anybody he wanted to continue.
You see, General, I want you to appreciate, right through my cross-examination, I avoided any mention of General Sabo.
You promised.
Please,
no, you
General,
promised if I answer a question, you let me explain.
If it is relevant.
Well, it is very relevant.
Now, since you have introduced the question of General Sabo, I better ask you a few questions. And I'm referring purely to page 5 and 6 of your Exhibit 77, which is your document.
Yes.
Now, in the Army, this is purely professional. In the Army, when does an officer become eligible to go to War College?
We have a set of standards.
That's right.
Officers go down by their courses.
That's right.
That's right.
Can you expatiate? What do you mean by their courses?
Well, I don't know if Sabo is course 9 or 8, I can't remember now.
That's right.
We have courses 1, 2, 3, down the level to, I'm not sure how far they've gone now.
Would I say
every course?
Yes.
For example, if course 8 is due after course 7, they should now go to War College. It is by courses and seniority.
Now, do you recall when course 8, which is Sabo's course, when they were due for War College?
I can't recall, but I know that they went.
May I remind you that they were due in 1995?
I can't remember, I don't know. I can't remember that.
They were due in 1995.
Well, that's
Some of them
information.
went to War College in 1995.
Yes, but don't forget, it depends on vacancies. If you are 15 and there are 5 vacancies, all of you cannot go to at the same time.
Agreed. Sabo did not go in 1995, did he?
He didn't.
That's
Neither was he
right.
ready to go in 96.
Oh, just hold on. He did not go in 1995. Did you recommend
Listen, if you just let me answer. If you have about 20 people, they go by seniority of even number down. It did not reach Sabo's turn.
General, please answer the question before you
I've
start.
answered.
did you send him to War College in 1995?
No, he went in 96.
Did you recommend him in 1996?
Yes, I did.
Did he go to college, War College in 1996?
After serious grumbling.
Hold on now. Answer the question first.
He went.
He went, yes.
Grudgingly. Grudgingly.
Was he the best student in 1996?
Well,
answer the question.
The definition of the best.
Did he come out tops in War College in
There are many ways of coming out tops. Maybe he did.
He did or did he not?
I think he did.
He even won the prize of the Chief of Army Staff when you were Chief of Army Staff.
He did. But how he got it, is not in question here. He did.
Now, General Bamaiyi, I think I will. Yes. Now, General, you said you were in NDA. When were you in NDA with General Sabo?
I was in NDA 77. I think Sabo met me there 78, if I'm right.
That's right.
Well, we were together in 78.
Please.
We were NDA together in 78.
Now, do you recall who was then the commandant of the NDA?
Yes, General Joe Garba.
Who was his deputy?
General M.D. Jega.
Now, would you say General Garba, whom I know very well, is a disciplinarian?
Yes, he is.
He's a no-nonsense officer?
Yes.
Would you say General Jega is the same?
Yes.
No-nonsense officer?
Yes.
Now, would you remember that on the issue you were talking about, well, how
much longer are you taking? How much longer? 1 hour, 2 hours?
No, I'm almost finished, my lord.
So for the last half an hour, no question relates to our terms of reference.
Okay, sir.
None refers to Abiola's death. So if it's either Abiola's death or our terms of reference, I will be writing.
All right, sir. My learned friend, you will not m.k.o. I'm your senior. You cannot tell me what questions I should ask. That's better. Now, General Bamaiyi, you said you were at Asorok on the day in question.
What day?
On the 8th of June, 1998.
Yes, I was invited to Asorok, yes.
Did you see Major Al-Mustafa at Asorok on that day?
I told you held a meeting.
Before you held a meeting, did you talk to Al-Mustafa?
No.
You never had a discussion with Al-Mustafa? He did not brief you at all on what happened?
I told you it was the Inspector General of Police that briefed us when we got into the villa. I only saw Al-Mustafa when we went with Sabo, Moazu, Magashi to talk to General Abubakar. That's when I saw.
What did you discuss with General Abubakar?
Well, very many issues. One, we told him he had no option than to take over as the commander-in-chief. That was the major issue. And of course, after that, he had other discussions with Major Al-Mustafa in my absence.
Now, why did you have to discuss this with a junior officer like Major Al-Mustafa?
Because...
And Brigadier General Sabo, who was not a member of the PRC?
It had not reached PRC yet. Oh. We had not gone to PRC. We went to the PRC in the night. We are talking of something that happened between 12 and 2 p.m.
Why did you need the services? Why did you need to involve a junior officer, the rank of a major, in the discussion of who becomes head of state of Nigeria?
Because the junior officers requested to meet General Abubakar. And let me tell you, after that discussion, General Abubakar was very angry. Al-Mustafa is here. He said if he knew that was the discussion, he wouldn't have come, because I did not also know what we are going to discuss. They said they wanted to see General Abubakar, and we went in to see him.
You decided.
And Mustafa is here.
You decided to call Mustafa.
No.
Oh.
They wanted to meet.
Who summoned the meeting?
Sabo and Mustafa had wanted to see.
Good.
Listen, wanted to see General Abubakar, and they could not see him without my approval. So I arranged a meeting with them.
That's right. The meeting was at the instance of Major Al-Mustafa and General Sabo. Am I right?
Yes.
And you organized the meeting?
Yes.
And suggested that General Abdul Salam should take over the government?
Before
Counsel,
even...
Please, I just need to clear my mind so that because we are already 1 month after the death of Abiola. Can we take it? It will help me adjust, and I know what to listen to. That we have exhausted all the story about Abiola's death. We are now just enjoying conversation about power play, because we are already 1 month after the death of Abiola. And I just take it now that we have finished with nothing more to add about how Abiola died and what happened, so that we just know that mentally we've switched off as far as Abiola's death is concerned.
I'm so sorry. Maybe my style is a little, but I have a reason.
No, because
for adopting the technique, I am after adopting, my lord.
Okay, but
I'm dealing with a general.
No, there is no. The reason is because there's hardly anything that you have said outside this that we've not discussed or heard about what took place. But I'm just saying, all that would have been, it's a wonderful song, but it's the wrong audience, because I thought that one of the things we needed to address here was the issue of the death of Abiola. I just want to know, because it will help us to understand that we have nothing more to learn about the death of Abiola, because this case apparently has to be closed today.
My lord, you will have more to learn from General Bamaiyi, sir.
Okay.
Now, General, please tell the commission if you ever saw the autopsy report on Abiola's death.
I did not see. I never saw it.
Please, can I see exhibit? But you recall that it was the government of General Abdul Salam which organized for the autopsy.
That is what I heard in this commission.
You did not know?
No, I didn't.
You also know that on the day Abiola died, there were some visiting Americans and diplomats with him.
I was told because I was in Lagos on that day.
You heard about it in this commission, or?
In this commission, yes.
Or you never knew about it?
Not at
on
all.
That day at all?
Not at all.
Now, in this exhibit 450, exhibit 2, there is no trace of any tea in Abiola's stomach. And it is the evidence of Major Aliyu that Abiola took tea in his presence. General, if you were to assess, would you agree with me that if there was no tea, trace of tea in Abiola's stomach, there was therefore a need to find other causes for his death?
Well, I'm not a medical practitioner, so I am not in a position to answer that question.
You do not know the cause of Abiola's death?
I don't. I wouldn't have known.
Was this matter not discussed at the PRC?
No. It wasn't.
It was never discussed at the PRC?
Never discussed, no.
Now, you know Zadok. You said you met Zadok here.
I met him here. I knew him here.
Did you know Major Aliyu?
Of course, yes.
Now, Aliyu said he kept Chief M.k.o. Abiola in the custody of one Colonel Abubakar. Did you know who Abubakar was?
Well, unless I've told his surname or his appointment, there are so many Abubakars.
He was supposed to be a lieutenant colonel and the commander or so of the barrack where Abiola was kept.
Well, I don't know the barracks where Abiola was kept, and there are many barracks here.
Well, he was said to be kept in Gadanasco barracks.
Oh, you are talking of commanding officer of the 3rd Battalion.
What is this? Yeah.
I know him, yes.
You know him?
I know him.
Was he under your command?
Well, he was a soldier, so he was under my command, through the brigade commander.
Now, it is in evidence in this commission that Abiola was taken to the barracks and taken to from the barracks to Aguda House, where you met Abiola a few days before.
Yes.
Now, would you sincerely say that it is normal security procedure to allow a high-profile detainee like Abiola to take tea without its being tested? Because Major Aliyu said the tea was never tested.
I've answered that question. I said it's not normal with my experience in prison.
It's not normal?
Yes, with my experience in prison.
Very good. Now,
like my friend.
It could therefore have been possible that Abiola took poisoned tea.
Well, I wouldn't know that. I was not there.
Was it possible?
I wouldn't know. I was not there.
Now, as Abiola, if Abiola was in the barracks, in Gadonasco barracks, under your command, indirectly, that's under the command of an officer under your command, and he died, therefore in his custody, did you conduct any investigation about the cause of his death, militarily?
Now,
please answer my question.
No.
Did you conduct any investigation?
I'm not an expert.
No.
Now listen, Abiola was not in the custody of the Nigerian army. There is therefore no way the Nigerian army would have been involved in any investigation. To the best of my knowledge, Abiola was in the hands of the Nigerian police.
Please, General, Major Aliyu said Chief m.k.o. Abiola was detained in Gadonasco barracks in the custody of Lieutenant Colonel Abubakar also, Garba or Abubakar. Now, you said you know the officer and that he was under your command. Now, if a high-profile politician like m.k.o. Abiola died in the custody of an officer of the army, shouldn't you, as the Chief of Army Staff, investigate? And if you did, what were your findings?
Let me tell you, I did not, because I could not have done so.
You did not?
I did not hand over Chief m.k.o. Abiola to any officer of the Nigerian army. I therefore have no responsibility for security. I'm just hearing about that here. I never knew that Chief m.k.o. Abiola was in the hands of any military officer until I came to this place.
Now, General, can you explain this coincidence? When was Al-Mustafa posted away from the villa to Enugu?
Well, after the death of General Abacha.
How many days after Abiola's death?
I don't know. He's here. We can find out from him.
Put it to you that he left. He was posted out 3 days after Abiola's death.
I see. Thank you for the information. By
now,
the
do you recall how many days after Abiola's death General Sabo was retired?
You said he was retired on the, was it 9th?
10th.
10th.
Was it a coincidence that these two officers, who were the prime movers of Chief Abiola's protection on the 8th of June, were retired a few days after Abiola's death?
Sabo had no responsibility for Abiola's security at all. He had no responsibility.
Was it a coincidence?
He had no responsibility for Abiola's security.
Was it a coincidence that these officers were removed from the army a few days after Abiola's death?
Sabo was retired for acts of indiscipline.
Please answer my question.
I have answered you.
Was
he was retired for acts of indiscipline. You gave me the paper here. That's why he was retired. Well, Mustafa is still in service.
Oh.
Mustafa is still in service.
I wasn't talking about
you talked of Mustafa and Sabo. That's what you said.
So, Al-Mustafa was transferred to Enugu, I said.
Yes.
To make way.
Transfer is normal.
For make way for access to Chief Abiola.
That is what you should ask the presidency.
By a member of by a lieutenant colonel who was under your command.
The lieutenant colonel could not have posted, the lieutenant colonel could not have posted Al-Mustafa. You are wrong.
I didn't say he posted Al-Mustafa. I said Chief Abiola died in the custody of a lieutenant colonel under your command.
No, he died at Aguda House, not with Lieutenant Colonel Garba. You are wrong.
He was in the custody of
He wasn't. Garba. To the best of my knowledge, no military officer had custody of M.k.o. Abiola.
That's a matter for the commission to decide.
That is right.
Now, General Bamaiyi, you know that you introduced the issue of Kudirat. Going by your records, it's in evidence before the commission. And the case of Chief Ibru. Going by these tendencies, And following the tendencies of Chief Kudirat and Chief Ibru, I put it to you that on the day in question, that is on the 8th of June 1998, you did tell Al-Mustafa that you believed that Chief M.k.o. Abiola should be killed just in order to balance the equation.
I did not tell Mustafa that, and I don't think Mustafa has accepted. That is what your clients said.
Now,
and the case of Kudirat and all these things are the handwork of your client, which has denied.
Don't be obsessed with General Sabo. Don't be obsessed with him. Now, for goodness sake, General,
me, you know.
I put it to you that you, General Bamaiyi, on the 8th of June, in the afternoon, talked to General Sabo and you confided in him that Abiola should be killed to balance the equation.
I did not do that, and there's no way any sensible person, considering my relationship with Sabo then, would have spoken to General Sabo for anything. That is a lie.
Does a sensible person kill?
Well, nobody has killed, unless you are telling me Sabo killed.
That's all I have for him.
No, we can't allow this. Let him ask any question I want to ask. No, please. You have counsel. Yes, we have been worried about whether people can appear through counsel.
Just two questions. Yesterday you allowed me, sir.
All right, ask. Don't worry, ask.
My lord.
Don't hurry.
Michao.
It has been done before.
Mr. Michao.
And I have been given the chance since yesterday.
Mr. Michao. Mr. Michao, please. My lord, sir. No, Mr. Michao, please. Let's do it with some other. My lord, since General Sabo is represented by counsel, my lord, he cannot, after his counselor cross-examine the witness, he cannot stand up, my lord, because if he's allowed, sir, I will put him in the box. Honestly, sir.
My lord, we have a duty to this commission. We are being watched all over the world. This commission is a commission of integrity. And like I did say, I know if any of you cannot operate from the platform of justice, my lord, the members will all go. Sabo cannot make a caricature of this commission. We cannot sit down here and fold our arms. Allow him do so.
Or make a caricature of himself. I just want to clear my mind on one or two subjects. This Agoda House is a high-class reception for high-profile, isn't it?
Yes, my lord, it's a sort
They
of...
had beautiful cutlery, beautiful crockery. They have. Including teapots.
They have everything, my lord.
And saucers.
Everything, my lord.
Why serve tea in a flask?
Well, that is a question.
Nobody has given us the reason why a flask just emerged. That's question number one. Question number two, who demanded to have tea? Question number three, was that tea time? No, if you know that he was there with him.
General, I'm not sure you are in a position. My understanding was that when the material time this issue of tea arose, you were not there.
I was in Lagos, my lord. I was in Lagos. I was not there at all.
You had tea with him, another occasion.
That was when the commander-in-chief directed you to visit him.
It doesn't detract from the question that you know the place.
My lord,
that place has cutlery and crockery.
I said yes,
Wouldn't it be surprising to you that they had to serve tea in a place like that, in a flask?
Well, my lord,
foreigners.
That is a question to be answered by those who gave the tea. Because when I saw him
in the place,
when I saw him, my lord,
surprise you.
When I saw him, we were not served with a flask.
Or when
it was a teapot. Yes, my lord. So this flask is not, I can't say anything about it. It was teapot.
My lord, may I inform, sir, that Akeola Aguda House was the former presidential lodge. That was where President Shagari stayed during the tenure when he moved to Abuja.
He never moved.
Visit, anytime he was in Abuja. So it's not just a place for receiving visitors.
The answers I would love to have.
Yes.
So, did anybody demand for tea? If so, who did? Or they just came and said, have tea?
My lord, I think Major Hamza al-Mustafa is in the better position to tell us.
Was he there?
He wasn't there, please.
He was there. Or if he was there when the tea was served.
No, I mean, my lord is asking why is it customary for them to be using flask? Being a former chief security officer, he will have known. Since Major Aliu is not here.
No. I had taken tea there. It was not in a flask. 29th of August, 1993, sir. We were brought from Kuje prison, Gani, m.k.o, and myself. And we're taken there to meet Chief Shonekon. We were served tea in teacups. That house.
Anyway,
now you're senior.
Another lingering question might just be the need for us to, because in the testimony of Major Aliu, or was it, I've forgotten who now, but somebody raised the issue that the American delegation needed time after it had been discovered that Abiola had died. There was a need for time for them to adjust to the press conference they were supposed to issue. I mean, they were supposed, yes, they had a press conference. But I found it a bit strange. One, that I imagine that if a high-powered delegation went to Ghana and a very prominent person of that nature dies, it would be a bit strange to me that the Nigerian delegation will be responsible for issuing a press statement. But I think these are some of the lingering questions that may be necessary for us to find answers. So the answers may not be immediately available. But I think it's a bit unfortunate. Anyway, maybe I better not say so. But we take it that I thought Dr. Orefalomo was going to be here today.
We're not sure. I came into town yesterday, sir, and for the ruling. It was when I was listening to the news yesterday that I discovered that General gave evidence. If you want him next week, sir, I can get him to come.
No, I mean, it's just...
But I thought that the person who prepared the tea, so far...
Don't we have a list of the stewards who serve in Akeola Aguda House?
The person who prepared that tea and served.
Because the issue of their presence or absence will also be of great assistance. I was actually informed the day before Major Aliu arrived that even the people who served the tea were going to be brought here. But I think if we look at the logbook in Aguda House, because I imagine people signed for all these things. But again, some of these things might be outside the immediate work of the commission. But these are things that, in the process of gathering evidence, it might be necessary for us to check and cross-check.
My Lord, I think ASP Zadok would know all these stewards. And since he was there on that day, he might know the stewards who served the tea on that day.
No, he was sent to go and open the office. Yes. So...
Re-examine, if any.
Yes, my lord. Just a few questions posed by my learned friend Falana, and I do know you have a lot of respect for him. He did mention the fact that you are standing trial in the Lagos High Court.
Hold it, so that you can re-examine at once. He wants to ask a question.
Okay.
Well, I don't know whether I should really, but since you were in government at that time, you know, to the best of your knowledge, was because what we've got across from evidence in respect of this death matter is that there could have been a conspiracy of some sort. The other possibility is that Rice, the lady who served, could have been on her own, doing their own mission for their own government without anything to do with Nigerian government. So I want to know from you if at government level you had any such design, I mean, to eliminate or do these things that are being alleged that led to the death of Abiola.
Not what
Were
I'm
you
aware
aware of any such plans?
I'm not aware at all.
Yes.
There was nothing like that.
Yes.
Not to my knowledge.
All right. Yes.
My Lord, maybe after my re-examination, I will also make my own contributions. You were asked about standing trial in the Lagos High Court.
Yes.
For what offense are you being charged?
Well, I am being charged for conspiracy to attempt unattempted murder of Alex Ibru.
Yes. Now, you went to the High Court asking for bail. Were you given bail?
You know I wouldn't have been given.
You were not given bail by
No,
the Court of Appeal?
I wasn't.
Were you given bail by the Supreme Court?
I wasn't.
Ganiu Adams was given bail, to your knowledge. Are you aware?
Well, yes, I am.
Fashewun was given bail.
For multiple murder, yes. But I made that point in the Lagos City,
Now,
where I said there are two laws operating in Lagos.
yes.
One,
For the
with
Oduduwas.
apology with my good friend, for the Odua descendants.
Yes.
And one for the Gambaris and others. This is just a confirmation
Yes.
of such laws.
So
And
because you are a Gambari, you were not given bail.
naturally.
I see. Now,
Even by Abuja and Supreme Court.
Well, I don't want to go into that Supreme Court. I will address that when I come on the 11th.
yes.
We know the conspiracy too.
Well, my Lord, I think that will be all for him, sir. And my Lord, the suggestion that I want to make, that perhaps would help us get to the root of this Abiola matter, is this. We appear to be too much in a hurry to travel to America in search of those who killed Abiola. I'm not trying to make a case for the Americans, but my Lord, the Americans did not come here on their own. They were given clearance to come to Nigeria. If that is the case,